What's going on YouTube? Earth Power here with CVH.
How's it going, everybody?
We have another profile for you today. Today we are looking at a very old version of Fire Nature Rush. And
So
by old, I
old.
mean it might be this is the exact profile. You guys can go back to maybe one of my first videos I ever put on this channel, and this is the profile. Granted, today we're going to try to keep it under 5 minutes.
Yeah,
So,
at least under 30.
Fire at least. Fire Nature Rush, guys. It's about as standard as it gets. I think some of the realizations that we've come to now and the new age of Duel Masters, if you will, the 2022 and 2023 metas, are that we really just hated blockers back then. Control decks used to be 60 plus cards, and they used to run so many blockers. And hence why you see certain versions of this deck that just probably aren't as standard as they are, or at least should be today. I keep using the word standard. I know I'm using it poorly, but like this deck hadn't changed for us, which I think is why we included it in the bracket in this way. Very similar to a lot of the other decks that we were playing in this bracket. This is about as close to, I say as close to, it's exactly the deck we were playing 15 years ago.
Yeah.
um yeah, I'll let you take it from there.
I
Different
mean,
tech choices.
yeah, again, like our control decks, and I blame myself for this because in our local meta, I played a lot of control and I just jammed all the blockers. That was kind of the linear way we beat Rush. So the linear way Rush beat control was to have the blocker removal. Even the Firelight Rush decks that had 4 Larva Gears, which is like an amazing card against blockers, were still jamming 4 Comet Missiles and 4 Screwdrivers, which in retrospect probably wasn't necessary. But yeah, in this deck, I mean, if you're wondering why there aren't cards like Volcano Charger or Poisonous Mushroom, which are staples in the overseas Rush decks,
Yeah, volcanic.
those are
Not
volcanic the arrows. I'm such a control player, right? I can't even say the right volcano removal. Volcanic arrows and poisonous mushroom, and even some interesting tech choices like the engineer keepos. It's just because we dedicated so much of the deck to blocker hate, really, and Torcon because it's like your favorite thing ever.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that's really what it is. So jamming this deck in our season one just felt appropriate. I think future iterations of this deck will see different lines where the flex spots of this deck, because there are some. I think the standard cards are your cards like Hearty, Capn, Sniper, Quixotic, Gonta, obviously in this version. Deadly Fighters, your one drop, your fast attackers, but the Screwdriver, the Comet Missile, and the Torcon can all be, that's 12 cards that you can just kind of turn into other things based on the meta that they're up against, or in this case, the brackets that we put them in the future. And like Christian mentioned, Engineer Keepo can be just a really good anti-control card.
yeah. I'm
They
excited to
don't want
test
to
it.
kill them because it keeps them off of a turn, that they may need to get to for that Searing Wave and things like that. Volcanic Arrows is basically what Comet Missile is. It just kills other things that are in the way. And then Poisonous Mushroom. God, we underlooked that card, but it just makes your Sniper Mosquito live on 2. You can just have 3 dudes on turn 2, and if you're on the play, like that's what are they going to do? Drop the blocker next turn? I have Volcanic Arrows and maybe Comet Missile. Like, come on. Like it's
Hmm.
just a really cool way to play the deck, and I think something that we missed prior to jumping into this bracket. But
Yeah, but even
versions
in
are fun.
yeah, I'm excited to test it. It's a surprisingly techable deck, but even in its current version, like it's the most straightforward rush deck
Yeah,
in the game. Even in this
it's
version, it
hard
is
to do rush.
definitely yeah, it's the fastest deck in the bracket. Had to include it. I think Fire Nature Rush is just a meta staple and probably gonna be a bracket staple for us because it's just the deck that every slower deck needs to take into account. Can it deal with the card or can it deal with the curve as fast as the kind of curve this deck puts out regularly?
Yeah, like I said, it's hard to do rush wrong, and
Yeah.
as long as you're playing dudes on 1, 2, and 3, you should be fine.
Yeah.
Or at least that's the whole idea. You win the game on 4, or you lose it after 5. And that's just rush. You're not expecting to go long, and if you are, you're probably not winning. So,
Hmm.
and that's just fine. That's just okay to have decks like that in a bracket tournament. So
And if you want to see if this deck wins on turn 4 or dies after turn 5, stay tuned because it's going to be up against Survivors in the round of 16.
very
It's going
much
to be a
so.
slugfest.
I can't wait. Stay tuned, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment down below. Let us know what you think of Rush, and what versions of Rush you're playing in your metas, for those of you who are playing. And yeah, stay tuned for the Survivors matchup, the end of our top 16 bracket, our top 16 matchups, rather, before we move on to our top 8. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you next time.
Each.
Each.